Her name is Mia, 26 years old, Los Angeles. In 2021, she lost her waitressing job during the pandemic. A friend told her, "You're attractive. You could make money online." 6 months later, she was earning $4,000 a month. 2 years later, she quit. Not because the money stopped. The money was still coming. She quit because she hadn't been on a real date in 18 months. Because she couldn't remember what it felt like to be looked at as a person, not as a product. "I forgot who I was," she told a journalist.
Being judged through the lens of an adult film actor was a big problem among friends. Family, forget it. In the end, there were no one left, except those from the industry. But they were all fake, just wanting to record video and move to the next one. It was a very sad feeling of being used by the same people in the industry. Days without a new subscriber were days flooded with alcohol, suicidal thoughts, and the disgusting feeling of showing myself naked for a few dollars. In the end, there were no inhibitions, just collaboration, and a cold feeling that I was doing something that had to end soon, or else I'd end up in therapy room, waiting for antidepressant prescription.
This is not a story about morality. This is a story about a machine that was built to monetize human desire and what happens to everyone inside it. Creators, consumers, relationships, society, all of it. How technology built the machine. To understand what's happening, you have to understand the technology that made it possible. 20 years ago, adult content required studios, equipment, distribution networks. Today, you need a smartphone and a subscription platform. OnlyFans launched in 2016. By 2019, it had 348,000 creators. By 2025, 4.63 million. That's a 1,222% increase in 6 years. 377 million user accounts worldwide. $7.22 billion spent by fans in 2024 alone. The adult subscription economy in the United States alone is valued at $28.5 billion, growing at nearly 10% every year. And here's the key question. What did the technology change? Not just economically, but psychologically. Because the answer to that question affects everyone, not just the people on the platform. The creator side. What they don't tell you. Alex's story. The platform sells a dream. Be your own boss. Set your own hours. Make money on your terms. Here's the reality behind that dream. The average OnlyFans creator earns $131 per month. Not per week, per month. 63% of creators earn less than $500 a month. The top 1% of creators earn 33% of all platform revenue, averaging over $100,000 monthly. The rest, competing in a market of 4.6 million people for the attention of 377 million users, most of whom are already loyal to someone else. And the pressure doesn't stop at money. 50% of creators hit burnout within the first year. 10% face harassment every week. 35% experience doxing attempts annually, meaning their real identity, their home address, their family, exposed. 25% face account suspensions from policy violations, often without warning, often without appeal. Alex is 24, Manchester. He started creating content in 2022 to help family back home. By month 8, he was making decent money, but checking his phone every 20 minutes for subscriber notifications. He told a reporter,
"My self-worth became completely tied to the number. If subscriptions dropped, I felt worthless. If they went up, I felt nothing, just relief. There was no joy, just anxiety. I used to love going out to bars and clubs, but now I don't go out for fear of being recognized. But like everyone else, we have dreams of a stable relationship with a partner, a warm home. Not feeling like I have to edit my CapCut video today because the subscribers will forget about me tomorrow. I was excited about it at first. Today I wouldn't get into this business. There are too many of us already. If you don't travel to shoot these videos, you don't exist. It's a short-term gig. If you stay in it for years, you'll end up sick. The feeling of being trashed because someone sees you naked for $10 is probably worse than being poor. Don't get into it. The money you make today in 10 years you'll spend on lawyers to get copies of your videos removed from the internet. I'm so sorry."
The consumer side, rewiring the brain. Now let's talk about the other side of the screen, because what happens to the people watching is just as significant and far less talked about. Adult content consumption has increased by 91% since 2000. Not slowly, not gradually, 91%. And the technology is the reason. When access requires effort, a DVD, a late-night channel, a magazine, consumption stays limited. When access is instant, infinite, free, and in your pocket, the brain adapts, and not in a healthy direction. Research shows that people who watch more than 300 minutes of adult content per week, 30% of men under 35 develop erectile dysfunction. Not because of a physical condition, because the brain has been trained to respond to content on a screen, not to a real person. 45% of consumers say adult content has damaged their real-life relationships. Divorce rates double when a partner starts watching regularly. And here is the detail that nobody in the technology industry wants to discuss. The platforms are built on the same mechanism as every other attention economy product. Intermittent reward, infinite scroll, cheap content over depth. Designed to keep you watching. Designed to make real life feel less stimulating by comparison. What it does to real relationships. Here is the question at the center of all of this. If you can access intimacy, or something that looks like intimacy, in 10 minutes from your couch, without vulnerability, without effort, without rejection, why would you go on a real date? Why would you work through conflict? Why would you be patient with a real person's flaws? The platform offers something no real relationship can compete with. Total control, instant gratification, no emotional risk. And the brain, over time, stops knowing the difference. Research confirms it. Frequent adult content users report lower relationship satisfaction, unrealistic expectations of their partners, decreased sexual satisfaction with real people. 38% of women whose partners consume adult content regularly report making unhealthy comparisons to themselves. 38% report decreased self-esteem, not because they aren't enough, because they're being compared to an infinite, curated, algorithmically selected feed of people designed to seem more perfect than any real person can be. The platform sells fantasy. The relationship pays the price. Back to Maya. Mia is dating again. It took her almost 2 years after leaving the platform to feel comfortable being seen as a whole person, not as content, as a person. She told a journalist, "The hardest part wasn't quitting. The hardest part was remembering I was worth knowing, not just watching." That sentence should stop you, because Mia was on the creator side. But that feeling of being seen as content, as something consumable, as never quite enough, that's not just her experience. That's what the attention economy does to all of us, on both sides of the screen. The attention economy was not built to make you happy. It was built to keep you engaged. And the adult content industry is simply the most extreme version of what every platform is already doing, selling you something that feels like connection while making real connection harder to find. The technology didn't create human desire. Human desire has always been there. But the technology found a way to monetize it at a scale and with a precision that has no historical precedent. And the cost of that, paid in relationships, self-worth, and the slow erosion of real intimacy, is only beginning to be understood.